Hello guys, I wanted to make another video. This one's going to be on Stable Diffusion and all of its different versions. The important thing for Stable Diffusion, so there's a lot of different versions of it, and all of them are specialized for different things. So as you can see here at the top, there's 1.5 is the main one I'm looking at. 2.1 extra large, which I'm just looking at extra large 1.0, and then 3.5. There's also there's also 2.0 and 3.0, but in general 3.5 is a strict upgrade and stuff like that. So these are the important ones. Stable Diffusion started. Stability AI, which is who released Stable Diffusion, um, released 1.4 or something in 2022. And I'm going to be showing you all of the different examples. This is just one sec. Holy cow! I'm accidentally there we okay. Let's show you the entire image just so you all can see it. This is Stable Diffusion extra large. This is the exact prompt I used. So I'm going to be going through each of these, showing you which are best for what. In general, you should be using okay, yeah, I'll just go over them. I got to each. So this is 1.x, which I mainly use 1.5. It's just so it's very, very fast. This one is one of them that I would say you can in general run on your computer. Most of these, if you don't have a really strong gaming PC or an AI specific PC, it's going to either take so long or it's not going to run on your computer at all. So this is one of the few that I'd be willing to say, yeah, you can run it on your own computer, which that's what makes this one a decent option. I have it's very bad with realistic images. It's really good for things like concept art, starting points, and stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend it for actual photorealistic images or anything like that. But so that's the reason I have this as the example image instead of being instead of asking for a photorealistic image, I asked for it to be a different style. Here's the installation code. Just that's a decent example. So now let's go to 2.x, which this one I really don't recommend you use in general. I'm going to point that out right from the start. So, it is in general better at most things, like being photorealistic and stuff like that, but it has some issues. Number one, it doesn't work with previous LoRa's, which are a big part of Stable Diffusion, is the fact that you can bring in your own example images. I might make a video on those later, but it no longer works with those. It now has plastic looking, like over realistic, over sharp, like it has some wacky things going on with it, and it doesn't work with old prompts for that would work with all the others. I don't have a good way to explain why, but this is the general idea of why. You can look it up. It's switched from clip to open clip, which doesn't seem like a big issue, but it is. It makes it to where it's much worse for most things. You shouldn't be using it unless you need it for us. Like, you need it because someone made something specifically for it or something like that. But in general, you shouldn't be using it. This is the prompt I used, and I did use 2.1 for this, but I don't recommend 2.1. Here's one of them that I do recommend. Standard Diffusion Extra Large is great. Lots of LoRa's, which once again I might explain those in a later video. Requires a ton of VRAM in comparison to what most people have. If you have a good gaming PC, that'll work great for you. If you don't, you might not be able to run this. Other than that, it's pretty great though. It's very, like all the ones before this, it can't render text. None of the ones, this one and earlier, can render text at all. That's not happening. It's really, it can make really cool looking images though. I really like this image. I will point out, for all of these, I just put in a random seed and clicked generate so that there wouldn't be any silly things where it just ends up being something stupid where I just keep on doing another one and another one and another one. So, but this is what I used as the prompt. So yeah, this one's great. This one's great for if you want photorealistic images, for if you want basically anything you want outside of text. I would recommend this one. This one's significantly smaller than the next one and does great. I don't, my main, it can make, this one actually doesn't struggle with like photorealism or duplicating limbs or anything as much as the previous ones. But yeah, 3.5. So I will point out something right here. If you go to Hugging Face, which is why I'm going to recommend you use to actually use these at the end. If you go here, I recommend using the quote unquote large version of it, and that goes for all of them. If they have a large versus a turbo versus all of these different things, in general, since you're not using your own GPU time, you might as well use the large. This one's really great. Really good image quality, as you can see. It's just a very good image. This is the prompt I used. I I would argue this is better than XL for most of the things, but it takes a ton of VRAM. I do not remember how much, but it takes, yeah, 12 to 16, which, unless you have a real nice GPU, that's not going to be running very well. But you can use the smaller versions. That's a good thing. The other issue. So yeah, I should have shown off the fact that I can generate text in this, but I show it off later. So text and image and it's very good at photorealism. Those are the two things. Now let's go to prompting tips real quick. So there's just a couple of extra things. If you want something to be more seen by the AI, then put it in parentheses. That will make it 10% more seen. if you want it to be more than that, then put it in parentheses, colon, and then whatever you want it to be. And this is a newer thing. You can also de-emphasize in XL and 3.5, which is useful for those, but obviously can't be used for the others. So you can use negative prompts, which is always useful. Just putting in things like missing limbs or stuff like that if you're generating things of an image of images of a person or something like that. That's always great. You can specify styles like this just at the start. It works really well. I do recommend putting those at the start, not at the end. And photo of also works really well if you want realistic. Yeah, it has specific, a lot of them have specific names if you go to their Hugging Face, um, or, Civet AI. If you go to those things, then you'll, find any other things that might be model specific that I didn't put here because I didn't want to spend an hour dealing with all that. But, now here's the comparison, so here's the prompt I used. It's very specific, and you'll notice that this doesn't look at all like what I asked. These two don't. I used two images just so that you guys can see that I didn't just get a bad or a good seed for any of these. These are all just with random seeds. Once again, there's the robot that I asked for, but there's no cat. And here, I don't even know why the taxi's here. I don't think I asked for that. Here, you get the robotic cat, which I do not believe that is what I asked for when I said friendly robot and a cat. I did not say a friendly robot cat. So, small issue. These do look like cool images, especially this one. I do quite like this one. But here's 3.5. You'll notice, unlike all of the others who didn't have my words, 3.5 has welcome, which is real nice. Yeah, it looks real cool. This one looks a lot better to me, but it can also generate the words at an angle, which I didn't plan on showing specifically, but I guess we are showing it, because it just automatically did it. It's great. So 3.5 is what you should be using if you have the ability to. In general, it's best. So, here's just the last things. So, I'm not really talking about the other, like, medium and light and turbo. I'm not really talking about those. I'm pointing that out right now. So, 1.5 is really good for being fast, being able to run on your computer, being able to just do whatever it needs very quickly, but it's very bad at generating photorealistic images. 2.x, it's not much faster. I wouldn't recommend using it in almost any situations. XL is great. It's really good if you don't need it to be perfect and you want to have access to a lot of LoRa's, or I might be pronouncing that wrong, by the way. Let me know if I am. But you have a lot of options, and it runs on a decent number of consumer grade GPUs. If you have a good one for gaming, you can probably run it. And 3.5 is overkill most of the time, but you can use it to generate great images with text in them, which the other ones cannot. So, I just want to real quickly show you guys some of the things I use to generate these images. So, you can use, so I recommend going to Hugging Face Spaces and just looking up Stable Diffusion, and you'll find all of these. Just look it up and on Hugging Face, and it'll give you most of the options I covered, and you can use them for free on their GPU time. You can run it on other people on their GPUs, which is real nice because I don't have the GPU to run 3.5. So, um, that would be most of what I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you all staying till the end. If you wouldn't mind sharing this video with other people you think would like it, and liking and subscribing, I'd really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Well, see y'all.